Hey, what's going on, everyone, and welcome back to Crypto Empire, where we dominate the crypto market. My name is Connor, and we're back for another live stream. All right, we're back from our travels. It's time to get down to business. It's the first day of a new month, so let's talk about the market and where I see things heading here in the short-term future. Let's start off like we always do with our crypto market overview, and guys, be sure to smash up that like button. Appreciate all of your support. So we should be all systems go here. I don't think there's going to be any tech difficulties. All right, we're back in the studio, and yeah, let me know if you guys can see and hear clearly. Shout out to everyone already in the live chat. We got Semi187, and we also have our guy Shane Stridham 7036. What is up, Shane? Great to see you guys. I'll be answering the questions in just a little bit. For now, I want to go over the general market. So we started off pretty rough here. Basically, we had the monthly close. Let's go to the 1 month candle here on Bitcoin. We had the monthly close for November, and instantly, as soon as December started, we began selling off. All right, so this is the 1 month candle here. And yeah, November was pretty red. It was very brutal indeed. November flew by, right? Semi187 asks, how is Bali? Man, I couldn't wait to leave the entire time, to be honest with you. I couldn't wait to come back to my home base here and get at. Bali's a very fake place, man. And it's just trash everywhere. And then there's like new, very nice places, like nice gyms, nice cafes, and then it's just like a rundown shanty town basically in between. Very weird place, very fake place, but I'm so happy to be out of there personally. Appreciate you asking how was Bali. But yeah, anyways, I spent most of the month of November in Bali, and it flew by. And November was a very red month. And that was expected, right? In October, I was warning that November is going to be carnage, and November was carnage. Now everyone is probably wondering what is going to happen next year for Bitcoin, right? If we go over here to our daily time frame, again, we have started off the month of December quite red. This is the daily candle, right? Instant sell-off from 91,000, and we hit a low of 84,600. So I just want to go over my bias here on Bitcoin, and then we'll get into some other charts and altcoins. Personally, my main overall bias right now is that this is actually a higher low forming, and we do see some type of relief rally. With that being said, I do understand the market is in a very bearish posture. All right, things aren't really looking great right now for Bitcoin, and of course, if altcoins or if Bitcoin goes lower, I do expect altcoins to drop as well. Again, we'll talk about that in a moment. But the question really is, there's two main scenarios, right? The first scenario is the bullish scenario from here, and that's the fact that we're putting in a higher low, right? We found the bottom at 80K over here. We pumped up to the yearly open, which is very big resistance, I'll add. But we pumped up to the yearly open at 93K, and now we've pulled back. Price is currently in a level of 2-day demand. All right, we have a 2-day demand zone right here at 86 to 84,000. And price is essentially reacting off of this 2-day demand zone. So the first scenario is we see a pump. And the question is how high we get on this pump. I do expect it to result in a lower high, and ultimately we do come down. But the first level of interest is, of course, the yearly open at 93K. And just above that, we have a 12-hour supply zone coming in at $94,000 on Bitcoin. All right, so this is the first level to be looking for. If you're longing this dip right now, expecting a relief rally, the first major level of resistance is going to come in at 12-hour supply zone at $94,500. Just above there is I believe it's an 8-week. Yes, there's an 8-week hidden order block coming into play at around 98K. Marked out in our teal color here. And then there is some more supply up here at basically $102,000. So my bias right now is a pump to either 94, 98, maybe, just maybe, it will get up to 102K. Ultimately, as long as Bitcoin is below the swing high, which is at 107,500, things are bearish and there's no reason to be bullish. I don't see this I don't see this getting reclaimed anytime soon. All right, so that's scenario number one. Basically, we're forming a higher low, and we should look for this to pump to resistance and then get rejected and head lower. Now, what if we don't pump here? What if instead we just decide to sell off lower? Right, we just decide to sell off lower and hit some lower levels. Where should we be looking for? Well, let's get into that, right? And this sell-off turns into a bigger sell-off. I think we're going to like $70,000 on Bitcoin. So look, I know originally I was saying like 90K, but the market shattered 90K and went to 80K. It's more bearish than I originally thought. So with that being said, the level is lower that I do ultimately expect to get hit, and I think we likely do form some type of bottom. It's going to be around $70,000 on Bitcoin. Right, we have a big, there's a 4-day demand zone down here, and then a 2-day hidden order block coming in from 72,000 down to like 69K. Guys, remember back in April, we were looking for 72,000, but we bottomed out at 74, 75. Well, 72K is still open right now, and we could go into the high 60s. One moment. Let me just put my phone on Do Not Disturb so I don't get distracted here in the middle of this live stream, guys. Smash up the like button, everyone. Let's go. So yeah, that's the bearish scenario. This isn't a higher low, and we just actually sell off down to $70,000 on Bitcoin. It doesn't really... it's a very tough market to trade right now, as I'm sure you guys have noticed if you've been paying attention, if you've been trading in this environment. Levels haven't been respected so much, right? Whether those are hidden order blocks, supply and demand zones, they haven't really been respected. So that's why risk management is absolutely paramount in this environment, right? Just don't try and force anything. Don't try and make any big plays. And if you're not a trader, simply wait it out for better times, really, because it is crypto winter. It is for sure crypto winter at the current moment in time. And I think it's going to get even worse, right? I just said I think we're going to go to $70,000. So I do think it's going to get even worse than it is right now in terms of price, in terms of morale, in terms of sentiment, right? People are already giving up. People are already completely distraught. But I'm telling you right now, it is going to get even worse, all right? So that's just the way it is currently. And remember to manage risk, because these are not very favorable conditions at all. Shout out to Shane. Getting some hype over here in the chat. Listen to Shane, guys, and smash up the like button. Shout out to Josh Williscroft. Appreciate you letting me know that you're seeing and hearing everything very clearly. We got Dell. He says, the market's been depressing. Please give us some good news. He says that's Bali off the list. Yeah, I don't see much point in going to Bali nowadays, man. There's so many other better places in the world to go to. Really, so many other better places in the world to go to. And shout out to Doles10 as well as Ghoul82. So yeah, in terms of good news right now, I don't really have much good news other than I still stand by my thesis and idea that we will see a period of altcoin outperformance starting in February next year. All right. I'm still kind of leaning towards that scenario. I'm betting on that scenario to play out. So that means for the next 2.5 months, nothing exciting is going to happen. But let me rephrase that. I think something exciting will happen over the Christmas and New Year's period where we're going to be forming a bottom. Okay. We're going to essentially be forming a bottom over Christmas and New Year's. If we look at what happened in 2024, right, we basically topped out just before Christmas on December 17th. So we formed a top over the holiday period, right? Christmas came around and Bitcoin was down here at 92K. It ultimately pumped up when Trump got inaugurated. And then, of course, we sold off into those April lows. But yeah, so, I mean, we had like a Santa rally last year until the 17th. If we look at 2023, Basically, we pumped over Christmas, bottomed out in January, and ran up. I mean, personally, I'm expecting something like this to play out. I don't think we're going to pump into Christmas, but I think we will bottom into Christmas and then have a run up. But the real sauce is going to be in altcoins, guys. Bitcoin is, there's an extremely high percentage chance that Bitcoin has topped out, at least for the next year, at least for the next 365 days. So yeah, I would be looking for a bottom to form over the holiday period, and that will be the time to deploy capital into altcoins for the run-up that I expect to start in February. Anyways, let's go ahead and move on now to Tether dominance. So this thing has just been in a very strong, aggressive uptrend. And if we head out to the weekly time frame, you know, this is that big weekly resistance up here at 6.5%. Ultimately, again, we went over the Bitcoin scenarios. If Bitcoin is going to pump, we're likely going to see this retrace. And there is a level, a 12-hour demand zone coming in at 5.8%. That we should be looking for Bitcoin to essentially top out at one of those resistance levels when Tether dominance hits this 5.8% level. When it does, or if it does come down here, I would then expect it to put in another move higher. Okay, we do have a reversal level marked out here on Tether dominance at 7.3%. We also have the 1 week hidden order block up here at 7.3%, 7.35. So this is another level to look for over the holiday period. When this does get hit up here, this is likely going to come around the time of the bottom and the best time to buy altcoins at this point in time, right? A very aggressive uptrend, multi-year resistance currently right now for this chart. So it would make sense that it takes a few tries to get through this resistance level. But once it does, I would be looking for like 7.3% as a bottom in the crypto market and a top for this chart. And then, you know, we have our period of altcoin season, if you will. Again, starting in February of next year is what I'm personally looking for with my magic crystal ball. That is, it's pretty accurate. It's not always accurate, but I mean, you know, something good to go off. Anyways, let's go move on now to Ethereum. So same thing as Bitcoin. It's in a 2-day demand zone right now. I will add, right, if we take a fib and look at the golden pocket, this came right into the golden pocket. Same thing as Bitcoin, right, on the 2-day time frame. If we pull a fib, it went right into the golden pocket. So that's why I mean, my number one thing is actually that a higher low is forming here and we pump up into resistance, reacting off of the golden pocket in 2-day demand. So if that's the case, we should be looking for upside here going forward in this week. Where would we go ultimately? Well, I do like the 3.4K level. I do like this 3.4K level. There's a 3-day supply zone here coming in at $3,400 on Ethereum. There's also the yearly open resistance at $3,340, $3,340. So if we are putting in a higher low right here, I think we could see ETH put in. It's a pretty significant move percentage-wise. Right, we're talking a $600 move. So we're talking 18 to 20% here on Ethereum. If this does ultimately end up being a higher low currently where we're at right now, again, in a 2-day demand zone, reacting from the golden pocket. All right, we could see this thing move 20% up into resistance before ultimately going lower and hitting my lower levels. That's the bullish scenario, that this is a higher low. It's not guaranteed, all right? Nobody knows how this price action is going to unfold here. So if this is not a higher low and we instead are just weak and we sell off further which could very well happen in this very bearish market that we're in right now. Where should we be looking for ETH? $2,500 is still wide open. I mean, I think it's a given that ETH will eventually come down here to 2,500. Again, it's just whether or not we bounce further from here and then come down, or we just go directly there. But yeah, 2,500 is still wide open. But the optimal reversal level, and the one that I expect to form a significant bottom again, likely later on this month or probably in January, before ETH runs up starting in February, going off of the Chinese New Year thesis again. That's going to come into play down here at $2,000 on ETH. There's multiple levels down here at 2,000, right? We have the 4-day hidden order block coming in from $2,065 down to $1,960. There's also a 2-day hidden order block over here. I'll wait for this to load. Yeah, so there's also the 2-day hidden order block, same exact level, $2,065 down to $2,000 exactly. So approximately $2,000 on Ethereum, all right? $2,000 on ETH is where to look for a significant bottom to form. When we get down there, it's going to be very significant upside, right? Back up to the all-time high and beyond. I think we could likely see ETH go put in a move to $6,000 to $8,000 next year. So yeah, if we see 2,000, that's going to be a pretty easy buying level. So I would stay frosty and likely wait for that. Total, same thing as Bitcoin, right? It's in a 2-day demand zone. Ultimately, we're going to find out if this is a high or low, and it pumps up. This is a 3-day supply, I believe. Same thing as Ethereum. Yeah, there's a 3-day supply zone up here, 3.4 trillion. So we'll see if we end up putting in a higher low here, rallying to 3.4 trillion. Everyone gets excited and bullish to then get rejected. And ultimately, I would expect this to head down lower. Same thing as the total 2, right? It's in a 2-day level of demand. I'm leaning towards a higher low being put in, a rally, a rejection, then lower for the total 2. Big 2-month demand zone lower that I'm using as where to buy when the time comes. This is at 1.03 trillion on the total 2. A 2-month level of demand, so very significant and higher time frame. I would definitely have that marked out. Other things I'm using as confluence, I've shared these before on streams. The levels haven't changed. ETH BTC, right? Currently still reacting off of the 1-week demand zone. All right, we'll see if we do get a good reaction off of this or if it's just a very weak bounce. The ultimate level I'm looking to buy altcoins again. We're going to line this up with all the other levels I've shared. It's going to be the 1-week hidden order block coming in at 0.029. All right, we have the little eyeball emoji here because this is really what we're watching for. This level on ETH BTC, it's likely going to come during a time of max fear. Like I said, morale is already distraught right now in the market. People are already giving up. So with ETH BTC coming lower to this 1-week hidden order block, it's going to have to be like some really, really bad news to spook people even more than they are already like spooked. So anyways, we have that marked out. And when that does get hit, it's likely going to be a pretty significant reversal level and probably a bottom for altcoins. So yeah, we'll be looking out for that when the time comes, and I'll be sure to alert you. One more major chart before we get into altcoins and questions. It's going to be the others chart, right? So the altcoin market cap excluding the top 10. Now, I know originally I was saying 180 billion for others, and then around the start of November I said no, we're going to go for 200 billion, not 180. Well, I'm pulling the reverse Uno again, and I'm saying we should be waiting for minimum 180 billion others to buy our altcoins. Okay, we're at 200 billion now. We've hit the level a few times over the past few weeks since mid-November. You know, I went over this scenario where Bitcoin's going to put in a higher low here, so maybe we rally a bit on others. But ultimately, I think the better opportunity is going to come 180 billion and below. All right. Hope that all makes sense, guys. Those are the major levels to be looking out for, right? We're talking on higher time frames. We're not looking at the 15-minute chart here. We're planning ahead because we really want to get the start of next year correct. We really want to get this run-up that I'm expecting to start in February correct, right? If we can get that correct and start off the year hot, start off the year with a lot of wins, that's some great momentum to ride further, all right? So currently, right now, it's all about preserving capital. It's all about playing smart, managing risk if you're actively trading this environment. I don't think it's the time to buy altcoins. I think they will go lower here. I think Bitcoin will go lower here. So that's just what it is right now, all right? Don't try and change things. Don't try and fight things. Just go with the flow. Sometimes you got to be like water. And yeah, going the path of least resistance is understanding that it's better to be a nit. If we're going to use some poker terms, right, it's better to be a nit, which is basically like someone who doesn't want to bet, than it is to be a very aggressive player right now. Okay, so it's preservation time, but I think the ultimate very good bottom opportunity will come over the next 2 months. So that's my overall forecast. Looking at liquidations right now, $800 million has been wrecked in the past 24 hours. All right, so with the month of December starting off red, $800 million has been liquidated. I mean, just huge liquidation days coming in consistently over the past few weeks. And again, it's a very tough environment to be trading. You need to have risk management above everything else. It's really just not the time to be aggressively sizing. Unless, of course, your portfolio is massive and 1% is a significant amount of money. For some people it is. But for most right now, you know, it's not the time to be taking higher percentage trades with your portfolio. Like 3 to 5% trades is just not the time for that. It's better to stick to 1% currently, basically. Anyways, yeah, that's our overall market analysis. Let's go see what's going on here with our live chat. Guys, smash up the like button. Let's get this party started. First live stream in a little bit of time, guys. Hope you guys are enjoying it. You should be. Anyways, Ghoul82, he says, the only thing I do is provide liquidity on Aerodrome to accumulate more Coinbase BTC and nothing else. Thanks for everything, Connor. Smash the like, guys. Love from Greece. Yeah, Ghoul, a good strategy right now, right? Just provide liquidity on DeFi, use Aerodrome, and wait for better times to take aggressive risk in other parts of the crypto market. That's a good preservation strategy. Generate some yield, and when the time comes, then you can look to make other moves. But yeah, shout out to Ghoul82. Appreciate your support, man. Thank you. Shout out to FBSK2V. He says, hey, man, good to see you back. So if you see others minus USDT/Bitcoin, we wick to 0.08 on the 10th of October. What does a crystal ball say? Do we fill that wick? Well, I don't have that chart open, but we can go ahead and pull it up here. So let's see what we can do. All right, so the wick that FBS is describing is significantly lower here. Now, I don't watch this chart personally, okay? So this is not something I've charted before. It looks like you have a different ratio. You said 0.08, and my chart says 1.46 M. But anyways, it's probably a similar wick. Do we fill the wick? I'm not so sure. Hold on, I have to sneeze. It's going away. going away, lads. Anyways, do we fill this wick? I can't confidently say yes or no because it's not something I've been watching and planning. With that being said, I do think you probably fill at least 50% of the wick. Right, so you can see that I just measured that candle from October 10th. You bounced off of the 382. I think ultimately it at least will come down to the 50%, if not the golden pocket. Whether or not it fills the wick in its entirety, I'm not sure, but I will confidently say that it will likely fill at least 50% of the wick. And good chance it does go to the golden pocket, the 61.8 retracement. But yeah, this is not a chart I look at a regular basis, so that's that. I appreciate you pointing that out, though. Shout out to FBS. Dell says, what do you think of privacy coins? If people are crashing out, they're likely to watch their crypto through swaps like Houdini or FOG. If people are cashing out. So I'm not sure about Houdini when it comes to privacy coins. I do know that Monero is very strong. And I do think Monero is a better hold than Bitcoin right now. Right, it's kind of the opposite chart to Bitcoin. Bitcoin's been in a downtrend. Ethereum has been in a downtrend since August. And Monero actually bottomed out in August when Bitcoin topped out and Ethereum topped out. And it's been in a structural uptrend since, where we're seeing it put in higher highs and higher lows. Right, so Monero right now is the opposite of Bitcoin and Ethereum. It's in an uptrend. Bitcoin's in a downtrend. Ethereum is in a downtrend. So privacy coins are strong. Monero is a better hold than Bitcoin right now. Going into the future, I don't think there's going to be any way to escape the overall surveillance and censorship that we're going to experience going into 2030 and beyond. Right, there's no escaping it. But it's always good to have an insurance plan, and Monero is that. So I think if you want to put a small portion of your, say, net worth into something like Monero, it probably will be extremely worthwhile. Extremely worthwhile going into the future, because I can see this asset continuing to appreciate and continue to do well. It's very scarce. And yeah, it's a very useful currency. So that's what I think about privacy coins. And yeah, when it comes to Houdini swap and people cashing out, if they want to go that route, for sure, it's an option that they can use. Let's see, Perry, shout out to Perry. Haven't seen you in a while, lad. He says, do you think it makes sense to consolidate all/most spot holds outside of the top 10 to 20 into Bitcoin, Ether, Sol? It's been brutal holding Super, Akash, even Tau, AVAX. Gotta go, but we'll rewatch later. So at this point, again, I do see coins going lower. Personally, I think Tau is going to come down to that 220 level that we've been talking about for months now. Do you think it's better to do that, to consolidate? I mean, you're kind of late, right? The time to have done that would have been in September, when the structures began to break on the majors like Bitcoin and ETH. Now to make a move, I don't necessarily think I think we'll see altcoins significantly outperform Bitcoin next year. So yeah, you're extremely late to make that consolidation move for your portfolio, Perry. It's really ultimately up to you. But yeah, you might have to just kind of grit your teeth and continue to weather it out. Because again, I'm more bullish on altcoins than I am Bitcoin going forward. And anyways, we're looking at Tau here. So the higher time frame demand is still wide open. All right, it's still wide open. This starts at $240. And ultimately, we could see this asset drop to around $180. Down to these lows. Right, so it's a very wide buy zone. But I would expect Tau to fill this from 240 to 180 in here. And that's going to be a significant buying opportunity, because back to that all-time high at 780 is a very significant gain. All right, at least 200%. And if it does end up hitting the Fibonacci extensions above 1,000, you know, you're talking very significant gains. From 240, you're talking 400% move. If it does come down to 180, you know, we're looking at above 500%. So that's very, very juicy, and that's where I would be looking to accumulate more Tau if you have capital to buy more. Tau is definitely high up on the buy list because I have strong confidence it will perform well. All right. We have Elon talking about how AI is going to make everyone's work optional. I mean, Elon is a paid shill for AI, right? He wants everyone to take the Neuralink brain chip implant, and I mean, he has to say this stuff. I don't agree with it, but I think AI coins like Tau will do well into the future. Real quick, another one I think is a good buying opportunity. Some free game here, some free sauce for everyone watching. Cubic is an interesting chart. Cubic is one to look for. We have a very big buy zone down here at Cubic, and it's getting close. Okay, this is at $750 per billion right now. When this comes down to $550 per billion, it will be in the buy zone, guys. And I mean, from this point, we're talking, you know, we're talking almost we're talking a 13x move, not even to the all-time high, just to the high on the Gate.io chart. All right, so the risk reward is very, very favorable. I don't care what you think about Cubic. I don't care if you hate the project. I think that you shouldn't hate it. You shouldn't date it. You should just trade it. And the risk reward is extremely favorable if it does come down here to these lower levels. Okay. Now, as you can see, I have a vertical line marked in late February. Ultimately, this is where I expect the reversal to occur and altcoins to begin to run up. So between now and February, whatever altcoins you like, you want to look for the bottoming out process to occur. I think we will drop lower. Have your marked buy zones. If you want my buy zones for many altcoins, join the Crypto Empire Mastermind using the link down below. But there's two of them. There's Tau, there's Cubic, coming into very, very favorable risk reward points for a run up next year. But yeah, for now it is pretty abysmal. So I made that Litecoin video as well. When in October or something, or was that even September? Made this Litecoin video over here, and in that video I said it will come down to $70. Now a lot of people disagreed, but lo and behold, Litecoin is coming home down to $70. Okay, so certainly an area of contention over here at 70. If it goes lower than $70, this thing is headed down to $60 to $55, $54. Another extremely favorable risk reward buy zone if it does come into play. Very, very lucrative levels if we can get entries down here, get our fills, and ride these up into next year. We're talking multiple X's at hand, okay? So I mean, these are not small cap altcoins. I mean, Cubic kind of is, but Litecoin, Tau, these are larger caps. So your capital is going to be at less risk, quote unquote. But the altcoin market, everything is very high risk. But yeah, I mean, the analysis we shared months ago, right? Real quick, here's Litecoin. Talking about the $70 level over here. So we shared this analysis on the 15th of October. Here we are the 1st of December, and it's playing out, right? Everything we talked about months ago is playing out. These things take time. All right, there was a lot of chop and slop in between. A lot of non-directional volatility. Spikes down, spikes up. The spikes down, everyone gets scared. The spikes up, everyone gets bullish and says this thing's breaking out to $500. It was all just non-directional volatility, and ultimately the forecast we shared months ago is now coming into play, and we're going to get our buy zone at $70, if not $60 to $55. Okay, so patience pays in this game in crypto, right? Most of the time in crypto, nothing happens. Then there's those short amounts of time where everything happens. So just have the long game in mind. It's so easy to get short-sighted and shiny object syndrome when altcoins are doing well. But whenever you get super bullish and want to deploy a lot of capital when things are going well, that's ultimately close to the top or the exact top. It's always better to wait for the very brutal, bearish times to be buying things. And we're in those times now. And I think we're coming into some very, very lucrative buy zones. I can spend all live stream. I can spend another hour going through this watch list and going over where to buy each specific coin. But in general, you should be looking for lower prices right now. I think we'll see SUI, another one. I think we're going to see SUI below $1 personally. I think we could see SUI come all the way back down to where it bottomed out over here. Not 36 cents, but I wouldn't be too shocked to see SUI around like 65, 70 cents. And that's going to be a very strong buy. Okay. I mean, this thing had a very strong cycle, right? It went from 36 cents up to $5. And I think we'll see it below $1 to buy again for a run up next year. Again, we want to be looking to buy these things when it's just so gut-wrenching and so abysmal. And it's pretty abysmal right now, but I don't think we're actually quite there yet, all right? We're not quite there yet. Shout out to the Silva Dollar. Guys, smash up that like button. He says, happy to see the king back. That's right. Appreciate you, Silva Dollar. Shout out to Adrian Kent with the 2 thumbs up. Della's been thinking about Monero for a while now. Yeah, again, right now, Monero is I mean, we can just compare the 2 charts. Just for comparison's sake, right? This is the Bitcoin chart. Very strong structural downtrend. And then the Monero chart. The complete opposite, a very strong structural uptrend. And I don't really see this changing. Okay, I think Bitcoin has topped out for the cycle. I think Monero is likely going to put in fresh highs. Guys, while you're here, go ahead and give me a follow on X if you're not following me at CCellCrypto. And also, get some engagement on my tweet here about this live stream. Hit the like button on the tweet. Give it a retweet. Let everyone know what you're feeling in the comment, right? Get some engagement here on the Twitter profile, on the X profile. I would appreciate that a lot. Thank you for your support. Shout out to Fiat Hater. He says, greetings from Cali, lads. Shout out to the California kids. Long way from where I'm at over here in Southeast Asia, man. But, hey, appreciate the support from California. Fog Swap. I haven't heard of Fog Swap. I'll have to check that out after the live stream, Dell. AMC says, what about SUI? I actually went over SUI without even seeing your comment, man. But yeah, we talked about SUI. I think we see it below $1, and that will be the buying opportunity for it. Again, when the time comes, I'll be here. I'll be sure to let you know. Ultimately, we're just not really bottomed out yet. Dogecoin's getting destroyed. Fortunately, I did actually get out of Doge. Basically at break even, around 20 cents. And yeah, that was a good decision because this thing is getting waxed out. At this point, we will very well likely see it come down to its key level. There's a 3-day hidden order block at 12 cents. So, yeah, it's pretty abysmal right now, but a good buying opportunity will likely be coming later on. Man, it's crazy to think that Chainlink is at $12, but I think we'll see it. I think we'll see it probably fill the wick from October 10th. come down to $6, $7. Pretty brutal stuff. But yeah, ultimately right now, Chainlink is very correlated to Bitcoin. Right, so if Bitcoin is going to put in a higher low here, maybe Link is going to put in a higher low, rally up to resistance, and then get slammed down and find its bottom in January. I believe we have an FOMC meeting on December 18th. So it's not uncommon for the market to do well into FOMC. Right, so maybe the higher low is forming here and we start a rally up into mid-December and then we slam down. Or maybe this thing is just so weak in terms of the general overall market and we see it slam down from here. We'll find out, guys. But as of right now, I just think we go lower across the board in general. Right? Things look brutal. A lot of people are saying we've bottomed out here and we're going to start a new rally up higher and they're all excited. I completely disagree. I think things are going to get even worse than they have been. I think they're going to get even more brutal. Then ultimately we will form a significant bottom and have a very strong start to next year come February. But until then, batter down the hatches, right? Get ready for just brutal times as we have been in. Shout out to Satoshi Flacco, my man. Great to see you. Appreciate your support. He says, welcome back, homie. Thank you, sir. And Dell says, what about Aster? Sleeping monster or CZ screwing us and going to jail again? Look, CZ's been screwing the market since the early days, man. That's not going to change. Just remember, October 10th, most of the shenanigans occurred on Binance. And the next day, CZ got a pardon. Trump pardoned him the next day. All right, that's not a coincidence. That's something to raise your eyebrows at. CZ is no saint in this market. A lot of people put him up on a pedestal, but he is definitely not a saint. So anyways, let's go look at my marked out Aster chart. So it never made its way up to our significant levels of supply, starting at $1.60. It instead topped out at $1.40. All right, at this swing high. And it's just been coming down lower since. So, yeah, those higher targets never came. Just going off of horizontals here on Aster, around 85 cents, we've seen a very strong bid come in. Right, we've seen buyers hold up 85 cents well. That's not too far away from the current price. We are at the 78.6 retracement as well. See if we close under that, but yeah, we're going to find out. It's really dependent on Bitcoin at the moment. Whether or not Bitcoin is going to put in a higher low, rally up, or just get smashed down to $70,000, which is the next target level lower. But yeah, for something like Aster, it's going to be very dependent on what Bitcoin does. Now, ultimately, there is demand down here at like 70 cents to 60 cents. I would be looking at lower when the time comes, likely in January. If Aster is the coin or one of the coins that you want to deploy capital into, because make no mistake, guys, there's going to come a point in time over the next, in my opinion, 4 to 6 weeks where it's going to be the actual time to buy. So you need to really make your plan now, make your plan ahead of time so that you will act when the time comes. Because it's not going to be easy to make that decision to buy when the time comes. Right? This market's cooked. This market's testing everyone's willpower. There's no money to be made in altcoins. Right? There's buying an altcoin spot and waiting for it to pump. That's a distant tale of the past right now, currently. But there's going to be a time to buy soon. All right, so make your list now, make your shopping list, and get ready. But for now, let's just wait for lower, basically. But yeah, Aster, I mean, I don't really have too much to say about it other than Probably does come down to like 70 cents to 60 cents. Let's see. Season 3 OG. He says, Treb going to 5 cents, but I stay out of the chat because all they do is that. Nobody wants to hear it. So, yeah, I mean, we'll see if it does come down that low. That would be the pre-sale price. So I have ski up right now. I mean, all these base coins are getting absolutely shafted. But when it comes to Treb, let's see. KeyCat getting smashed down 12% right now. Sub 10 mil market cap. Brutal. Miggles getting smashed 7 mil market cap. Chart looks abysmal. Let's go see Treb. $8.8 right now. I mean, it would take a lot of the holders right now. Like, they would have to sell. Basically, I mean, these red candles are from people selling everything, in my opinion. Just full stacking whatever they have left. So, yeah, if they're going to push this thing down to 5 cents. Let's see. In terms of a percentage move, that's what, 40%? 42%. So in terms of market cap, I mean, that would be a very, very, very low market cap. I would expect a ricochet whipsaw reaction, right? 42%. Right, we're talking a 570K market cap. I mean, I would expect a whipsaw reaction if it were to go that low. And immediately, like a few decent buys would push it right back up. So yeah, if that happens, that happens. But I mean, yeah, to single out Treb, I don't think is right, because look at every single base coin. They are all destroyed. I mean, every coin on Deck Screener, every meme coin, every on-chain coin, it's washed. How is coins like Moonwell doing? 37 million. Let's see. So DeFi isn't doing great, right? The state of DeFi right now on base is looking very bad. Moonwell looks like horrible. Arrow. Not doing so hot. DeFi is in shambles currently on base, so yeah, I mean, with Treb, hey, I think that would be a pretty juicy opportunity. If it went that low, I think it would have a good reaction. There is going to be a base airdrop probably next year, and at that time, I think base coins will do well. But yeah, until then, it's not looking hot at all. At all. Shout out to Neon, my man Neon. He says, finally, bro, you're here. 12 days with no Mr. Aura. Hey, I know, brother. But hey, you see that? Mr. Aura is back, lads. Smash up the like button. Smash it up. Shout out to Be Cool. He says, hit that like button. Thanks, Be Cool. You're the man, Be Cool. Appreciate your support. Bob Franklin, what's up, Bob? Am I on vacay in Asia? Nah, I live out here, man. I've kind of been on and off for the past few years, but yeah, for the last 6 months I've been out here, and yeah, I'm staying here for a bit at least. For a bit. I need to get some lifestyle content, show you guys what it's like to live in a warm, sunny place. Not to like throw shade at you if you're in the U.S. during winter time. Look, I'm from Jersey, man. I know how brutal those winters are. But yeah, I mean, I'm in warm, sunny Thailand right now, so maybe I'll show you guys some cool stuff that I do out here when I'm not watching the charts or going live or making YouTube videos, which is most of my day, honestly, right? I enjoy working. I mean, all this stuff is that you see on social media is cool, right? I've done it. I've done the cool stuff. Gone to the nice places. went to the beach clubs, done all that. I prefer to stay inside and work at this point in time. Anyways, Neon says, nah, bro, I just watched back your thesis. Where do you think the injection of liquidity would come in for ETH to go to 3.4K? Last time you missed when gold and silver start distributing. We will see money flowing into crypto. So yeah, I don't really talk much about gold and silver here. So not part of my regularly scheduled programming. But for ETH, where do I think the liquidity will come from to get a 20% move to 3.4K? I'm not sure. I'm just going off of the levels here, my man. Right? I'm just going off of the levels on the chart and nothing more, because that's what I do. I trade the chart. So yearly open again up here at 33.40. And then there's the 3-day supply, which is why I mentioned 3.4K. To be clear, I think that's max upside we see here if we bounce. All right, there's no guarantee. I'm not calling for 3.4K. I'm not guaranteeing it's going to happen. We see a rally to 3.4K. All I know is that there is this 3-day order block up here that is going to act as resistance if/when price ultimately does come up to the level. All right. And that's what I mean by 3.4K. But yeah, I mean, looking at the chart, that's resistance. All right. So if we do end up putting in a higher low right now, I would be looking for price to come to resistance and then likely get slammed down from there, or we just slam down from current prices because we can't catch a bid and it's so weak. But yeah, that's the clarification on 3.4K on ETH. Let's see. Neon says, giving his very in-depth textbook explanation on how markets work. He says, well, markets work as money flowing from asset to another, and most of the time, allying depends on situations. So it's not that hard to see where liquidity is by hunting it. It's basically tracking macro money flow. Thank you, sir. Thank you for the class lesson. Appreciate you sharing that. Again, 3.4K to me is the 3-day supply zone. The yearly opens at 3.3K. So if we bounce from here, I would look for price to come to those resistance levels and then react from there. Just trading the chart. But yeah, what else is going on, guys? So Michael Saylor's buys continue to get smaller and smaller. Right? It's pretty pathetic nowadays compared to what he was buying a few months ago. He just put in an $11.7 million buy for 130 Bitcoin. And look, that's obviously a large amount of Bitcoin. $11 million is a lot of money. But for Michael Saylor, compared to what he's been buying and his purchases over the past 1 to 2 years, this is peanuts. Right? This is absolute peanuts. So that just kind of goes to show you where things are at right now with the strength of the market. Saylor's bid is really dry compared to it once was. But hey, he's still buying. He's still buying here. So it's kind of a positive that he's still buying, but it's a negative with how small his buys have become. Now, when it comes to the current sell-off, a lot of people are banning it on the China stablecoin or China ban on crypto. China bans crypto every other month, every other year, whatever. There's always a China ban narrative going on. So this happened earlier today. China's central bank has reaffirmed its crypto ban and warned it will intensify its crackdown on stablecoins. So nothing new here. Whether or not that's the reason for the market selling off, maybe it has something to do with Venezuela right now. All I know is that we should just focus on the charts and less on the news, because the charts are really way more reliable. And right now I am looking for these 2-day demand zones to hold up on the majors. Right, here's ETH inside of the 2-day demand zone, also right at the golden pocket. We have Bitcoin, same thing, in the 2-day demand zone, right in the golden pocket. So ultimately my bias is we're going to put in a higher low here and make our way to resistance. For Bitcoin, we have levels. We have a 12-hour supply at 95K. We have the hidden order block at 98K. And maybe, just maybe, we see 102K max. So percentage-wise, that max move, I mean, again, we're talking 18-20% max upside. I'm not calling for it, but that is a level to look for shorts, because I don't really see it going higher than this, and then it will come down likely to $70,000. That's what I'm seeing. Let's see. Bob Franklin says, yes, the China ban and Tether FUD always come when the market is bleeding to scare retail. That's very true, Bob. They always release that news at opportune times. Ahmed says, others hit 200 billion. Yes, sir. We went over others at the start of the stream. Real quick, I'll cover it again. So basically, I pulled the reverse Uno card. And I'm telling you, I'm saying, my plan at least is, I am once again waiting for 180 billion. All right. I know we made the switcheroo and we said let's wait for 200 billion. This was at the start of November. But the market is just more bearish than I originally anticipated. So I am once again calling for others to hit 180 billion and below. All right. Ultimately, I have a very wide spot buy zone marked. It starts at 180. This has been my analysis for months before I did that last second switcheroo at the start of November and said 200. But we're at 200 now. And I don't like the look of these altcoins at all. I don't like the look of Bitcoin. I don't like the look of Ethereum. I think they go lower. So I'm once again saying I'm waiting, right? In terms of actions and not words, I'm waiting for 180 billion to personally buy altcoin spot positions. That's that. Shout out to George Poppy, aka Kazuya. Great to see you. He says, let's smash the like button, guys. Yeah, guys, smash up that like button. Let's go. We're back. All right, we're done traveling. I had to leave because of a visa. That's the only reason I left. And the whole time I wanted to come back, but we're back now. Klopp Zone, he says, if 2026 is bear market, what is the range, the bottom for Bitcoin? Great question. That's a very good question. What's the bottom for Bitcoin? So I do think 2026 is a bear market. I think altcoins will have their run, like I said, starting in February. And then after they top out, we should be expecting a very, very brutal bear market. And for the bottom to come in on Bitcoin, ultimately, I think we will see sub 50K. Right, I think we will see sub 50K on Bitcoin. Likely we will sweep the wick from last August in 2026 at some point. Probably late 2026 we bottom out. And I'm calling for like the 40s. I'm calling for like 45 to 50K for a bottom. Based off of my magic crystal ball. All right, this is probably like a year away though. So for now, I think we should focus on getting the altcoin season in 2026 right. Play that correctly. Cash out chips. Wait for Bitcoin to hit 50K, 45K, and buy Bitcoin there for the run up into hundreds of thousands of dollars that will come after. It's a long game. For sure, it's a long game, and if you can have the patience to wait on those longer horizons and make some correct moves and buy Bitcoin at the right time, yes, it's a long game, but it can be a very, very lucrative game. So that's what I'm seeing in terms of a bottom for BTC. But guys, we're going to go ahead and wrap this bad boy up. I do appreciate you all being here for the first live stream in a little bit. Smash up that like. Hope you guys enjoyed the stream here. And yeah, I mean, it's just really not that bullish right now. It's pretty brutal times, but hey man, we're here together. Hope you guys enjoyed the stream. I'll continue to do these streams and update the market as I do see fit, as things do progress. So if you're new here and you're not subscribed for whatever reason, hit that subscribe button, stick around, join the Crypto Empire family. And that's all from me. My name is Connor from Crypto Empire, and I will see you in the next video. Have a great Monday. Have a great month of December, right? It's the first day of the month. So, start off on the right foot, get moving, do what you got to do, and I'll see you in the